White House National Security Communications Advisor and Assistant to the President. John, good to have you with us. You know, what do you make of the reaction? A lot of people were unhappy with that comment that you made yesterday and felt like you were, telling people that they were nuts or that they didn't know what they were seeing with their own eyes.
No, not at all, Martha. That's the farthest thing that I would ever do. I was simply reiterating what the FBI and what the Department of Homeland Security have relayed to us about what they've been able to corroborate. And we haven't been able to corroborate everything. I said many of the corroborated sightings have turned out to be piloted aircraft. I didn't say all of them, and what I said was those are the ones we were able to corroborate. There's certainly ones that we have not been able to, and we don't know the answer to it. And I strongly recommend that for folks that are seeing these things and documenting them to share that as they can with the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI,
right, well, let's
the investigators.
do that. Let's share it with you right now. Let's put up this photo. This is the close-up one. Here we go. This is in Bernardsville, New Jersey. So, John, are you able to see this photo?
No, ma'am.
You don't have a monitor there?
No, actually, I turned the monitor off. It distracts me, so I didn't see it.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Well, you'll have to take a look at it after, but I can describe it to you. It is large. It has a white bar that goes through the middle. The right-hand side is half lit up white on the top and red on the bottom. The other side is green. So what would that, you're a former military person yourself. You're an admiral. You're the White House National Security Communications Advisor. I'm sure you have seen some of these images. So what is that we're looking at?
It's difficult for me to tell you, Martha. We don't really know. It is possible that some of these things could be commercial drones, developed for commercul purposes. It's possible that they could be owned by private citizens.
But why don't we know, John? That's the point. Why doesn't the United States government know? It seems silly. I mean, it feels a lot like the Chinese spy balloon. It was like, oh, we don't know. It's not a problem. Then we watched it go all the way across the country, and we kept hearing, we're not really sure where it came from until we saw it popped and, floated down over the ocean.
That's not quite how it went. We were pretty honest with the American people that we knew it was Chinese and we knew that where it was going to go. And we were pretty comfortable, given the analysis, that there wasn't going to be an intelligence threat by it. And we shot it down once it was over safe waters and wasn't going to hurt anybody. But back to this. Why don't we know? I wish I could tell you exactly why we don't have an answer for you here in the afternoon on the 13th of December. But I can tell you that we are working on it very, very hard to know, because we want to answer those questions the same as those folks in New Jersey want answers to them. And we are working on this very, very hard. We are now applying. There was an interagency conversation this morning about this topic where we have now decided to employ some additional technology to New Jersey and some additional personnel to try to get a better sense of what these things are. And as I said yesterday, Martha, as soon as we know, we're going to be as transparent as we can.
This is shocking. I got to tell you, this is shocking. Okay, and I'm not the only person who feels this way. This was happening at Langley a month ago, okay? These people are not crazy. They're seeing these things with their own eyes. This is not normal behavior. They are not planes that are coming in one direction and they're heading into Newark Airport and then they're landing, okay? We spend $824 billion on defense. We have the greatest intelligent capability in the world. So how can you stand there and say to the country right now, gosh darn, we just don't know what these are?
Because I'm not going to lie to you or to the American people, and I'm not going to say we know something when we don't. And we would never, ever stoop to think that an American citizen was crazy or nuts because of what they're seeing and what they're documenting. We're taking that imagery seriously, and we're doing the best we can to analyze it, and we encourage people to come forward if they have additional sightings and imagery. We want to do the best we can to triangulate it, but I'll be gosh darn if I'm going to stand up here and make up stuff that I don't know to be true.
We don't want you to make up anything. Do you know and you can't say? Can you tell me that?
No, I'm telling you, Martha, I'm telling you we don't.
You don't know.
We can't corroborate every single sighting. Some of them we have, not all of them, and we're working hard to do that. We know people are afraid of it. We know people have concerns. We have those same concerns.
Yeah, because they're flying over your house, and it sounds like there are motorcycles landing on your roof. Let me ask you this. One, person who watched this online said they think it's Pterodynamics Transwing Drone XP4, which is being developed by the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and moving ships in high seas and winds. You know, they're suggesting it's an American company. We asked the company. They said we can't speculate on the origin of the drones that are flying over New Jersey. So is that an avenue that has been inspected? You know, is this a private company that is practicing something? And wouldn't they have to clear something with somebody to have this kind of activity?
It could very well be, as I said, these could be commercially developed drones of some kind.
Why not just take one down and figure out what's going on?
Well, the idea of taking something down, again, you want to worry about public safety. First of all, we don't have enough conclusions to take that kind of a policy action. But let's just assume for a minute, Martha, that we did. I mean, you're not going to want to shoot something down where it could hit somebody's house or hurt somebody.
Well, the Coast Guard says that there are 30 of them following one of their ships in the ocean. So would that work?
I mean, again, we have to develop the policy options based on what we know we're dealing with here, and we just don't know enough to make those to take those kinds of actions. But my goodness, we're going to do everything we can to find out, and we're going to share as much as we can. I understand it's frustrating for folks.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us. We want to know as well.
What does President Biden say about it?
He also has tasked the team to look into this and to be energetic in doing it to try to get answers. He saw some of these images yesterday. He has talked to his team, including his top leaders, including at the Defense Department. And
have you called in like AI experts or said like, why don't we ask Elon Musk what he thinks, or brought in outside experts?
We're working really hard right now inside in the interagency, and certainly supporting the FBI and DHS as they investigate this. And if we need to have additional conversations with people outside the lifelines, we certainly will do that. But I want to make sure I don't get ahead of the investigators and what they're doing.
It just seems weird. I mean, people, they're low. They fly fairly low, some of these. It just, I think, is amazing that the White House has no idea what's going on. I think that makes people feel really unsettled. In New Jersey, they sent out an intelligence bulletin, I should say, issued in December of 2024 with recommendations for encountering downed UAVs. And it says a downed or landed drone should not be approached. It says request hazardous materials response unit or local hazmat team. And then it says request the nearest bomb squad. Do you agree with those recommendations if one of these things comes into someone's house or lands in their yard, or they have to deal with it?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen that directive, but all that makes perfect sense to me as a former military person. If something like an aircraft of any kind lands in your backyard or close to you or your family, call the authorities. Don't approach it. You don't know what it is, and you don't know what kind of fuel might be on board. You absolutely should just call the authorities. Make sure you report it. Don't go near it. Don't touch it. You don't want to get hurt.
Okay. One last question for you, and it's in another area. It's in the Middle East, where obviously, John, there is a lot going on. There's a new headline in the Wall Street Journal today that suggests that the incoming Trump team is considering many options, including airstrikes in Iran, because Iran is working very hard, according to reports, to escalate their ability to make weapons-grade uranium, to move up their calendar because they see everything collapsing around them and they want to secure enough material for nuclear weapons. And they are not ruling out the possibility of airstrikes. Is that something that the Biden administration would consider doing, given this sensitive time frame while Iran is very vulnerable and exposed?
I'll tell you one thing, and you and I have had this conversation before, so what I'm going to tell you, you've heard me say before, but I think it bears repeating. President Biden has made it very clear we will not allow Iran to achieve a nuclear weapons capability, and we will not take any option off the table to prevent that outcome. I'm not going to speculate here today and tell you what will happen or not happen over the next 40 some odd days, but the president has been crystal clear. They will not be allowed to achieve that outcome, that kind of capability. And we want to make sure on the national security team that he has all the options available to him to prevent that sort of outcome.
So are you saying President Biden would also consider airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities before his term is up?
President Biden has made clear that Iran will not have that capability. We had tried to do this through diplomacy. Obviously, that didn't work because the Iranians were not willing to negotiate in good faith. All other options remain available to the president. But again, I won't get ahead of his decision making.
Let me just ask you one last question on the drones. What's the time frame? Like, I can imagine, when you go back in there, it's like, when are we going to have answers on this, folks? what do they tell? What are you hearing? Like, we'll know something in 24 hours. We're going to know something in 36 hours.
We want to know now. We want to know now. And that's why the president has charged his team over the last couple of days to get more granularity, to get more information, and to get more resources to New Jersey so that we can start to do better triangulation.
And Connecticut and Maryland and California.
We are working on this very, very hard, I can assure you, but I couldn't give you a date certain. I mean, it's going to depend on where the investigation goes and how much more resources we can apply to it.
All right, John Kirby, thank you. We appreciate you taking the questions. Obviously, this is a very strange situation, and we look forward to getting answers and clarity on it very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.